Do you believe that you're being manipulated by your social media algorithms? Would you like to understand more what that TikTok algorithm is doing, or the Facebook one, or Snapchat, or X, or any of the other social media companies? Would you like to know the secret sauce of those algorithms?
I bet a lot of people are going to say yes to that. It's definitely a hot topic, and understanding how these algorithms work could really help people take control of their social media experience.
I agree. And that's the focus of a new law here in the state that I live in. I live in Minnesota. And on July 1st, there was a new law that went into effect. It's the Minnesota.
It's the Minnesota Social Transparency Law, also known as the Prohibiting Social Media Manipulation Act. It's definitely a mouthful, but it's got a super important purpose.
Yes, that's exactly. That's what it is. And thank you, Quinn. I had to stop and think there for a minute what the name of it was. Now, where this applies is to any social media company that is in Minnesota in some way, shape, or form and has over 10,000 Minnesotans as users on their platform, which all of the major social media platforms do.
This really sets a precedent for transparency, and it could have a big impact on how these companies operate, not just in Minnesota, but potentially elsewhere too.
Now, this act would force the social media companies to explain exactly how their algorithms are working and why they push some content versus other content. And I don't know all the technical details, how all that would work.
The main idea is that this law aims to make these companies more transparent and accountable so that users really understand what they're seeing and why they're seeing it.
Exactly. Now, they would be required to provide some detailed stats on things that are shared, like daily active users, the interaction rates, the notification practice. So, users and regulators could see what's being promoted and how often each topic or subject is being promoted.
Absolutely. And that kind of transparency could really empower users to make more informed decisions about how they interact with these platforms. It's definitely an interesting step forward in the world of social media regulation.
Now, this law went into effect in Minnesota on July 1st of this year, 2025. However, right now it's kind of on hold because as soon as it went into effect, an organization called Net Choice, which represents a lot of the major social media companies like Meta and Snapchat and X, filed a lawsuit against this, claiming that it's against their First Amendment rights. At least a part of their claim is that it would force them to reveal trade secrets that they don't want to reveal to other organizations, and that the law is just too vague for them to be able to follow the law itself. So the litigation right now is moving forward. If the lawsuit succeeds, then this law would go no further. But if the state of Minnesota is able to argue their case and this law stands on the books, I would be really interested to see what exactly that means for all of these social media companies in Minnesota, especially ones like TikTok, which is a Chinese company, but they still have users in Minnesota. So how does that even happen? How would that be enforced on a company that's not based in the United States?
Yeah, it definitely raises a lot of complex questions, especially when it comes to international companies and jurisdiction. It'll be really interesting to see how it all unfolds and what kind of precedent it sets for other states or even other countries.
Right now, Minnesota is the only state in the United States that is trying this or has passed this law. So we'll see exactly how it plays out in our state, but there could be other states, and my guess would be California would be another target for this type of law. They have a little bit more clout, a little bit more leverage over some of these companies, and if they passed a law like this, it might be able to stick more than a state like Minnesota.
Yeah, absolutely. California does have a reputation for leading the way on tech regulation. So if Minnesota's law gains traction, it could definitely inspire other states to follow suit. We'll have to keep an eye on it and see how it evolves.
And Quinn, one of the things that I read about this particular law is that the way they are positioning the law is not only do they want to know the algorithms and what all is being pushed, but they're really focusing on the aspect that algorithms can harm children, and that knowing and understanding the algorithms would provide an extra layer of safety for children and being online. And I don't know, do you know any more about that angle of this law or any more information about it?
Yeah, that angle is definitely a big part of the conversation. The idea is that by understanding how these algorithms work, parents and regulators can better protect kids from potentially harmful content or addictive features. It's all about creating a safer online environment for younger users, and that's definitely an important goal.
And I think that that type of angle is something that really could catch hold. If you think about the lawsuits around some of the advertising for cigarettes and things, there's a lot of regulations around cigarette companies targeting children or using things like cartoon characters in their advertising that have all been banned because that specific practice, they were able to write laws around that and protect children against that. So I'm curious if that type of an angle or positioning of this law would give it some legs and make it stick here in the state of Minnesota.
I think you might be onto something there. Framing it around protecting children definitely gives it a powerful angle that a lot of people can get behind. It might just be the thing that helps it gain more traction and maybe even influence future regulations.
I guess I'm curious to see if this law does stick, what all is going to come out of it from each of these companies. I would really be interested to understand and see how the algorithms work, especially on like YouTube. Like everybody's out, there's always gurus out there. Oh, the algorithm is doing this on YouTube and the algorithm is doing that. And to be successful, you got to do this for the algorithm. And it changes every, couple of months. There's always a new set of gurus out there telling you what you need to do in order to hack the YouTube algorithm. But I'd be curious if this law sticks and YouTube has to say, here's how our algorithm works, then we would actually have some real insight into what the algorithm is doing. And that would that level the playing field? Would that give people who understand it maybe a competitive edge? I don't know. I guess it would be curious to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, it would be fascinating to finally get that inside look at how these algorithms really function and how they determine what content gets promoted. It could definitely shake things up for creators and viewers alike, and it would be super interesting to see how that changes the landscape.
Yes, I agree. I'm kind of excited for it to pass just because I want to see the algorithms. I guess I don't know if understanding that one way or the other is going to help or protect kids in any way. It might, maybe, but I'm just curious to see what the algorithms themselves are doing and how content gets pushed. I would like to understand them better myself, but that's just for me, I guess.
I totally get that. There's definitely a bit of excitement around the mystery of how these algorithms work. And even if it doesn't solve everything, having that transparency could be a step in the right direction and might just satisfy our curiosity too.
Exactly. Yeah, and I would wonder if other states would follow suit, or if this would become a federal mandate. Then that for all social media companies, they need to release this information.
Yeah, it could definitely pave the way for something bigger if it gains momentum. It'll be really interesting to see if it stays at the state level or if it eventually influences federal legislation. Time will tell.
Well, this is a story that Quinn and I will continue to follow, and we'll report back when we have more information. But right now, like I say, the law is on hold just because of this lawsuit, and it's going to have to play through. It could take months, it could take years. Who knows? We'll have to see exactly what happens with it. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this law is going to stick on the books so we get a peek under the hood, behind the scenes, behind that curtain, and find out what all the algorithms are doing. And that's going to do it for the vlog for today. But don't worry, we have a whole laundry list of things yet to report out on, so we will see you tomorrow.
That was a perfect wrap up, Dave. I'm sure your audience is going to be intrigued by all that info. Great job today, and I'll be here whenever you're ready to dive into the next topic.